Hello, this is Vulturefire, and this is another fresh start video. So, if you are just watching these in order a while after the fact, for your benefit, this is not on the same patch as the previous video in this series because we are now on 6013, and the reason we are on a different patch is, of course, there is now a new character. So, Sharu is a fairy who does discard shenanigans. So this video is going to be fairly short. It's going to be the depth 1 Sharu run, and then the next video after this will be my first attempt at a depth 3 Sharu run, and we will see if I can win with a level 2 Sharu against depth 3. So I did manage to get a win on my main account with my first level 2 Sharu run, but that was the first draft of the character on beta and on my account where I have the ability to just buy all the market items and whatever. So it will likely not go as well here, but we'll see. Okay, so depth 1, planning's not really important. This will be a chance for you to, if you have not seen this character before. This is Sharu. So one of the big things with Sharu is that we've got this discard theme, which is that every time I discard anything, we're going to get one of those reactive shivs. The other thing is we start every fight with 1 evasion. There's also Blade Idol. So Blade Idol is a card that absolutely can make, is not a bad card, but it is an awkward card often. So Blade Idol, you deal 3 extra damage to the first enemy, and you lose 2 mana. And you play this card when it's unplayable. You deal 3 damage, you do 3 extra damage to the first enemy, and you lose 2 mana. You may be wondering, if it's unplayable, how do you play it? The answer is, unplayable just means you can't play it from your hand. Most unplayable cards, like this one, have some condition by which they are played. In this case, when it is drawn or it is discarded, it is played. The important thing, though, is, because this is played on draw, if you draw a Blade Idol, there your mana goes. You've just lost, you will spend your mana immediately. You do not get a choice. Now it's worth noting, if you don't have any mana when you draw a Blade Idol, if I play Introspection to get to 0 mana and it draws a Blade Idol, then I still get the effect and I don't have to pay the mana. But it is kind of awkward with these tricky focuses, which are one of your, because your main discard outlets, you also play it on discard, your main discard outlets in the initial Sharu deck are going to be the Siphon cards and the tricky focuses, both of which gain you mana, which you will immediately end up spending on the Blade Idol, which can be unfortunate. So these reactive shifts, you get one whenever you discard 1 or more non-temporary cards, and they deal a small amount of damage, and they also trigger Leech, Bleed, and Poison one time for each of those debuffs. And so those are Sharu's 3 debuffs, Leech, Bleed, and Poison. Those are the 3 debuffs that Sharu does the most with. So in this case, against this enemy, what that means is it's going to do 2 damage. It's going to trigger Leech. There's no Leech, so that's not going to do anything. Then it's going to trigger Bleed. There's 2 Bleed, so that's going to do 2 damage. Bleed is now also triggered every time you play a non-mana card, and it will deal damage to both you if you have Bleed, and the enemy. It's also trigger Poison, which will in this case deal 10. So this is going to do exactly enough damage, and it would have done 2 damage after it finished resolving from the Bleed just naturally ticking. I don't know if I want Irritating Dust, but I don't think I want a 3rd Fey Barrier. So Irritating Dust just triggers Bleed 5 times on any enemy. That means that we really do want more Bleed sources. Normally I would go here for these cards from this, but I really kind of want a Lacerating Strike, and I would love a Corrupt. And then we can take 2 Bleed. I'm spending a lot of time thinking. This is still a depth 1 run, so kind of the rules are made up and the points don't matter, sort of thing. Okay, I think I only have 1 evasion, but that's fine. This will do 6 damage because it'll trigger Bleed 5 times from its effect, and then 1 naturally. So it'll do 6 damage. We can just get this kill right now. And then we can evade this incoming hit. which makes our day better. Let's start by drawing. Discarding these does cost us our shield, but we don't need that shield. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. In this case, the fact that we didn't have control meant that there was no way for us to stop from getting hit by that reflect damage. Which normally won't matter, but there are a few, because there aren't that many enemies with reflect, but it can be annoying. Alright, last rating strike. That is another way to get some bleed, which is nice. Cryogenic flask is just kind of a nice thing to have. Pitch that. Pop. Okay. Gonna go ahead and freeze you just because we may as well. Alright. Just apply a bunch of poison. We're gonna evade one of those hits and then the other's just gonna hit. Alright. And we can just trigger all the bleed. Tick, 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 tick. Not a ton of damage, but it works out. Yeah, so Impale is going to Corrupt 1, which is pretty nice. That will up all of the debuffs. We were hoping to combo that with Bleed for the most value. Let's see. I'm going to do this. Alright, so that was where I was talking about, like, we got Blade Idol effectively for free there. I think I'm going to start by discarding that, because I want to get some bleed up before I pitch the Blade Idol, because this will trigger that. I'm going to do this. Give me a second. Alright. Sorry, I had to do other stuff. I'm so used to having all of the Shrew abilities. Once again, I think we're just going to freeze out the 4x attack. So, we're going to pitch that. And we're going to do some damage. Not quite enough, but we do get to evade both hits, so that's fine. And this will give us... Oh, we just have enough. We're good. Alright. I think we take the Arms Race. Relentless Assault is pretty good, but I think we just want the mana card that is also going to draw us into more value. It is worth noting, Arms Race can draw Blade Idol. Arms Race can also be tripped by Blade Idol, so it's kind of a wash. I'm deciding if I want 2 Deadly Injections. I think I probably don't. I think this isn't really a poison deck. Although, I could regret that. Deadly Injection is pretty good damage. Alright. I'm absolutely not going to bother freezing here. Yeah, okay damage. Not great. Let me think. So the question is, what do I discard here? I think the answer is, oh, it's obviously Irritating Dust, because I can't do anything with that. So we can do this. That Shiv is a strike, so we get to draw that. Which will immediately do a bit of damage, but unfortunately not much. Draw, alright. So we can up that bleed stack, which is fun. We don't need that shield. More bleed. Poison. More poison. Trigger all those debuffs. And it's actually an okay turn to freeze. Not least of all because that got us 3 bleed damage, and then we can just hopefully pick up this kill here. There we go. Royal Coffers is usually pretty good for Shrew, but we don't have the pieces to go with it. I might just take and upgrade the Arcane Silence. This is also kind of tempting because it does discard, but discarding multiple cards will only get us one reactive shiv, and this costs us all our mana, so we won't be able to play the reactive shivs we get. I think we're just going to take the Arcane Silence. Oh man, with that we are absolutely upgrading the Arcane Silence. Because we want to be able to get detonations on those strokes. I think Irritating Dust is a little bit too speculative. I don't think we quite have enough bleed engine to make that work. Absolutely go in and risk it. I know we don't really get... So we don't have any spells, so we get to upgrade any card we want. Free upgrade is great. So this makes it only lose us 1 mana when drawn or discarded. This upgrade is actually pretty good. That's probably what we end up taking. This is also pretty good because that ups it to Bleed 2, and Introspection Plus is the other upgrade that's just incredibly good. We're going to take Blade Idol Plus. And then we will gain even more power and fight the most dangerous ones. The powerful buff that we get from that is very good for this character, since this is a character who tends to hit for relatively sorry, my brain is... Oh, who tends to hit for relatively small damage numbers, but hits a lot. So getting out that extra powerful helps a lot. And if you see me do any other Shrew builds, you know that Shrew can absolutely snowball pretty hard. Or once you have the passives, but we of course do not have the passives yet. So it gets us... Right. Plated's annoying, but... Yeah, that was actually another instance where we really would have preferred if this didn't happen, because then we could have Arcane Silenced and popped both of them. I think we apply Weak, because we're going to take an Arcane Detonation here. It's going to take away one of our powerful. Alright. This Dirk has a lot of powerful. We can deal with some of it. We want to get Bleed out before we do anything else, because we aren't going to get rid of the tough. Alright, so it looks like we are going to get there. Yeah, Blade Idol Plus does do a reasonable amount of damage, especially with powerful. Okay, and Contemplate is very good. This doesn't do anything for us, neither of these do anything for us. I don't think there's any good chance that we get a spell. I think we just discard that, which might mean that we end up getting another item. Again, this is depth 1. I'm spending a lot of time thinking for depth 1. Don't need that. I think we don't need that. Okay. Unfortunately now we can't usefully corrupt here. But I think we freeze to prevent incoming damage. So I don't think there's a more dangerous turn coming, and this way we just don't have to worry about losing health. What's in the deck? Okay, so we will draw this, which is important because it will let us discard Fey Barrier, which lets us get a temporary evasion. And then from there we can apply poison, which will get us pretty close to this kill. Once again, pitching Fey Barrier is going to give us that evasion we need. I think we are going to Arcane Silence here. Just do some damage. Get to evade. If we draw Blade Idol, we just win. We did not, but we just won anyway, which is acceptable. Okay, I think Power Surge is solid. I do kind of just want more mana, but Power Surge does pretty good work. Okay. We are going to pitch that. This will kill... This will kill the front one. Okay, cool. I was really hoping that we'd find mana there so that I could not feel bad about my decision making. I don't know why I did that, because... yeah. Freeze this one. Alright. And we get another reactive ship, which will give us the kill. Alright. Escalating onslaught would be good if we were playing a longer game, but we aren't. Just go ahead and reroll. Yep, another tricky focus is good. Resting doesn't matter a ton here. This is actually very bad for us because this applies purity on strike, which that's not you get purity, that's the thing you hit gets purity, which is not great. Critical chance is good though. And let's see what else we get. Max mana, sure. I think we pitch that. And then not too much happens here. We get to evade that hit. Fortunately that wasn't adept or we would have been sad. Okay. Let's discard that for the evasion. So kind of what I'm trying to do here is avoid wasting resources, which means I want to do that, and then we don't have to do a freeze because we are just going to evade this incoming hit. All right, we played that, so we get to play that. So I want to discard this, but I also really want to get this off. And this would have cost us mana to discard. And we can just freeze you for value. This is a very unfortunate hand. I could have cleansed off the vulnerable. We'll still win probably, but that was an unfortunate hand. Do we have enough? No, we don't quite have enough mana. That's not quite lethal. It's very annoying. Kind of have to do that. And there we go. That gives us the kill. Okay, that works out. Had that one bad turn. But alright, so Mind Sap is useful. Vengeance Maneuver is useful. Eviscerating Strike is okay, but I don't love it. But that was a depth 1 run with Sharu. Took way longer than it should have, but that's the episode. I'm going to probably record the next episode right now. So you can probably watch those back to back, although I think I'll probably stagger the release date on them by a day. So next episode, you can find out if Sharu wins immediately or not. Doodles.